Any of you out there who are familiar with the channel, you know, look, I'm a fan of HBO and their production, okay? Not the commentating, not the whole Kellerman, Lampley, Roy Jones, you know, trio, whatever you want to call it. I like the production. I like the fight game. I like HBO 24/7. I mean, how could you not, right? How could you not? So I've been waiting. I mean, waiting on pins and needles, waiting, you know, for the new episode of the Canelo Golovkin fight game, and we finally got it. Okay, and look, was I really shocked? No. I mean, you know, it's almost like the commentating. You know, I knew they were going to be biased. Okay, I could almost already tell you what they were going to say. And basically, they made it appear like a one-sided, you know, I don't know, like a one-sided fight for Canelo, and I already knew this was coming. So now look, let me let you guys in on a little bit of inside information here. I'm gonna flip the screen over real quick, and you know, throughout my day, I'll send myself a message. Okay, you know, I have these random thoughts, right? And let me just quickly read what some of them are. Okay, right here. Now, these are things I wanted to bring up today, but I'm just going to read them to you. You know, this is rare, random. I normally don't do this, but it's something different. Okay, I said, if you don't perform up to public expectation, you will not get any favors out of the judges. Okay, think about that. Just think about it. You know, Gennady Golovkin didn't do what they thought he should do, but he won. But apparently, winning isn't good enough anymore. You know, the fact that you actually won the fight, that's not good enough anymore. Okay, that's not going to get you, you know, that's not going to get you the nod. Okay, you must perform up to public expectation in order to get the win. Okay, now think about that. That dude, that's solid. Okay, that's heavy, right? Look, you know, a good friend of mine, Juan Diaz. Okay, Juan Diaz, you know, Baby Bull fought Juan Manuel Marquez. Okay, the last time I talked to them, you know, I asked them, I said, you know, could the older Juan Diaz beat the younger Juan Diaz? You know, so, you know, we're basically, the reason I'm bringing this up, you know, could this new version of Gennady Golovkin beat the younger prime Gennady Golovkin, right? You know, it's like, does the wisdom and the knowledge and, you know, all the things that he's learned throughout the years, the ring generalship, just the ring IQ in general, you know, could that beat that pressure cooking, come forward, cut the ring off, you know, seek and destroy Gennady Golovkin? And according to Juan Diaz, yes, he said yes. The older, wiser, you know, boxer can beat, you know, the prime. And you know, look, that's debatable. It depends. So, you know, again, something to think about. Now, I wrote, isn't it a shame the judges had to rescue Canelo? They had to come in like the cleanup crew and salvage his reputation anytime Canelo faces top-level opposition. Okay, top-level opposition. Mayweather loss. Okay, Irizlandi Lara, that should have been a draw. Look, if any fight should have been a damn draw, it should have been Irizlandi Lara. Okay, should have been a draw. Okay, Cotto, right? Even an older, you know, Cotto on the decline gave him a damn good run for his money. All right, and now of course Gennady Golovkin beat him. So once again, you know, isn't it a shame the judges had to come in and rescue Canelo to salvage his reputation? You know, and again, you know, anytime he's up against top level opposition, he loses, or you know, he doesn't perform. Look, this is not being biased. I'm not being biased. Okay, I'm being truthful. I'm being honest. All right. You know, it's a gift. I wrote it's a gift decision or a draw. Most media people are afraid to tell you these things because they will lose their credentials, their monetization, but I don't care about that stuff. I'm here to set a new standard, set a new trend, and make my own way in boxing journalism. Okay, I don't need to follow what others do. This is me talking today. Okay, I'm letting you guys in on my private notes that I write myself look, you guys don't realize how much passion and how much time and how much effort goes into these videos. Okay, I don't slap them together. Okay, there's a lot of, you know, a lot of emotion and passion and drive and motivation, and I mean, this is the real deal right here. I wrote, I don't need to follow what others do. I don't need to follow what others do. People will eventually adopt my blueprint because obviously it is working. Be a leader, not a follower. Think outside the box. And besides, we don't, and I put, besides, we don't need more of the same, okay? And we really don't, okay? We don't need more of the same. How many freaking YouTube channels are there with these, people get on there and talk boxing? It's all the same. It's like the same thing over and over and over. It's just like this recycled and regenerated information, So I wanted to create a new channel to bring you guys a little something different, okay? And I'm trying. I really am. As a boxing fan, it's what I wanted and it's what I felt the boxing world was missing, okay? I wrote, be a leader, not a follower. Think outside the box. And besides, we don't need more of the same. Boxing needs a different personality and honest, outspoken voice, okay? And I wrote, we are about to hit 5,000 subs. It took channels years to get to that point and do what we've done. And we've done it in less than 1 year. And that's not even going at this thing, full steam ahead, just all out, because look, if I really wanted to just go all out, dump a bunch of money into the channel and just really invest into it, it'd be a lot bigger than it is now. So, we've managed to do in a short period of time what it's taken other channels to do in 2 and 3 years. And I'm not bragging. I'm saying, obviously, there's a need and there's a want. People want this kind of commentating. They want this kind of, truthful speaking. They want this kind of insight, this knowledge, whatever it is. I mean, people migrate to the channel, and I hardly promote the channel. I do very little. Actually, I do zero advertising. I just make a video and I throw it out there. So I wrote, most of these guys are born on YouTube and will die on YouTube. They have painted themselves into a corner by targeting a select audience. They all want to be the next Max Kellerman or Stephen A. Smith, but like I said, most of them eventually fizzled out. We have, and I put, we have already lost 3 big boxing channels in the short time I've been on YouTube. So what does that tell you? I mean, these are just, like I said, it's almost like a private journal that I'm letting you guys, look at here. It's my own private thought. So, but look, getting back to the fight game, truthfully, it's further disappointment, but I'm not surprised. It's kind of like when you're walking into a situation and you already know what you're going to get. I knew it was coming. Okay, I knew it was coming. So let me paint the picture. They've got you've got what's his name here, Jim Lampley talking, and basically, the whole thing is like a bunch of highlights of Canelo and them hyping up Canelo, and then at one point, they kind of go, oh well, Golovkin's making a comeback. Like it was like he made a comeback to a draw. Basically Canelo dominated, and now Golovkin is making a comeback, to a draw. So they brought up the Mayweather McGregor fight, and he said, it was the 50th win, if you want to call it that. He said, against an MMA fighter. So, if you want to call it that, sure. So again, another knock. And what I've noticed here, it seems like HBO Boxing and Golden Boy Promotion, they're really in bed with each other. They seem to share the same ideas and the same morals and the same standards, the same values. It seems to me they're both going in the same direction. Like there's almost this like backroom, partnership. And I think it really showed with that 118, 110. Even the 114, 114, even Dave Moretti 150, 113. I mean, there's not a single judge that got it right that night. So it just seems to me that they're in bed with Golden Boy Promotion. I mean, how else can I say it? Like I said, the highlight, it was Canelo looks good. He seems to have overwhelmed the monstrous Gennady Golovkin, and that's actually a quote, I think that was from Kellerman. He says, he seems to he's dominating the monstrous Gennady Golovkin, right? I'm like, give me a break. I mean, talk about, theatrical dramatics, right? I mean, this is just, and look, I told you this would happen. I told you they're going to hype up Canelo, and they're going to do everything in their power to sell it to you that, he's this great big star because they need him. They desperately need him. And look at the budget cuts HBO made last year alone. It was like, I'm pretty sure The budget cut that HBO made last month alone for the year was the biggest in the past 10 years. Okay? So now what are they doing? I mean, they lost Manny Pacquiao, right? That was their cash cow. That was their walking ATM. Their walking, talking, boxing ATM, Manny Pacquiao. So now what are they going to do? Right now, they've got their eyes set, their sights set on Canelo Alvarez. So that's where all the hype is coming from. Then they go on and they say, well, oh, Gennady Golovkin, he's finally, found his rhythm. He's starting to walk Canelo down and, pushing him backwards, that kind of thing. And then at another point, Roy Jones jumps in there and he says, yeah, Canelo really needs to do something, to slow Gennady Golovkin down. Like, you can tell, you can hear it in their voice, they're getting concerned. And this is like round 4, round 5, maybe the midway point, they're getting concerned. And you can just hear it, they're like, oh, okay, great, the act is up, right? The jig is up, we're caught, It's like, what do we do now? We can't, you can look. You can only have bias commentating to a certain degree. If a guy's out there just getting whooped every round, getting beat pillar to post, you can only have that biased way of thinking, to a certain level. And I like it. I like hearing them stutter and stammer. I like hearing them getting shaken up. You know what I mean? I love it. To me, I enjoy that as much as I do watching the fight. Hearing those guys like fumble over their words. I love it. So, but right here, this look on Roy Jones, he's the one that said it, and you got Max Kellerman pointing, he's like, oh, he better do something to slow Gennady Golovkin down, and then I even wrote it down. He said, hang on, he says, and Kellerman says, well, you know what, when you land your best punch and the guy is walking through it, what do you do, Roy Jones? What do you do? And he's like, and of course, Roy Jones gives that little generic answer like, oh, you just keep trying, you don't give up, some garbage like that. But, it's a shame to me. I mean, it's a shame that you have, these guys are at the pinnacle, just the top of boxing media, and they're so completely biased and corrupt and paid for. And it trickles down to YouTube. It trickles down to YouTube. Like I said, when I was reading my notes to you guys, I mean, these guys are so worried about their monetization and their clickbait and their press credentials and all that. But, again, like I said, try something different. This shit has been done for years, over and over and over again. And how many people have actually made it off of YouTube? Let me ask you that question. How many people have made it from YouTube into mainstream boxing media? None. None, maybe 1 or 2 guys out of like 10,000, okay? So hey, that's why you guys ask me why I don't go cover fights. Well, I will, and I do, and I have, and again, and I will continue to do so. But this channel, we're going into a different direction, okay? I'm not going to follow the mold, and I'm not going to be a follower. I'm going to be a leader, and look, obviously it's working, okay? And like, again, not bragging, but, it's time for a change on YouTube. It's time for a change in boxing. Look, I know I'm like spitting out a lot of random thoughts right now, but I'm really passionate about this stuff, and I'm really upset that they robbed him. They robbed Gennady Golovkin. I don't care how you look at it. I mean, you can see the look all over Canelo's face. He knew he was losing that fight. He knows he lost, and I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame. I mean, when I think about it, I can't even like talk about it. It's just, all right. This picture right here. This is whenever Canelo would land, after he landed one of his best punches on Gennady Golovkin, and Golovkin just shook his head no. That's the look you get right there. And again, this right here, to me, that look says 1,000 words. Okay, that look kind of defines the entire fight. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm throwing my best shots and you're walking right through them, So I think, look, Golovkin, if he would have made a couple of simple adjustments, if he would have came out a little bit more aggressive, it would have been a completely different night. They couldn't rob him with a draw because in a way, in a certain manner, it is a robbery. But I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad he didn't lose the belts. I can tell you that. Could have been a whole lot worse, okay? And look, you can see the look on their face. I mean, there goes the cash cow, right? I mean, just look at these guys. I mean, it's just like just the corporate greed, the lying, the corruption, I just, man, I can't even look at these guys, you know. And truth be told, I used to look up to Kellerman. I used to want to be like him. I used to like style my commentating based on his, you know. Even Jim Lampley, you know. I mean, I had a ton of respect for him, the passion and the devotion. You know, he's been around a long time, but in the end, it's like, what happened? Just what happened to boxing, you know? And then you finally have a genuine boxer like Gennady Golovkin that comes along, and you know. And unfortunately, I think he's going to be a product of today's boxing. I think, you know, ultimately, when it's all said and done, you know, I don't think he's going to retire where he deserves to retire at the point he, you know, I don't think he's going to accomplish what he should have accomplished, but it's not because he didn't want to. It's not because he ducked anybody. It's not because he has a bad promoter. It's because the state of boxing. And what a shame, because back in the day, you know, boxers had every opportunity under the sun, right? If they wanted to fight, all they had to do was say, "Hey, I want to fight that guy." And it happened. And it happened multiple times, you know, the round robin, whatever you want to call it, the four kings, the golden age of boxing, whatever. I mean, this whole new generation of boxing we have right now, it's almost like WWE. You know, it's almost like, you know, it's pretty bad when you actually you can pretty much, you know, who's going to win a fight before it even starts, right? You're like, well, look, if it goes to the cards, there's no way Golovkin. I mean, how can you say that? What other sport can say that? Like, you know, I can pretty much tell you how things are going to go. If this, and that happens, I can tell you what's going to happen. It's crazy. So, but look, again, you could just see the look on all their faces. That, you know, their game plan was spoiled, and you know, and look, I am incredibly proud of Gennady Golovkin. I know I've kind of given him a hard time here lately, but I hope next time he comes out and he does a little more, okay? Because he just needed to do a little more, just a little more, and things would have been different. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. You know, sorry for rambling, but, you know, I put a lot into this whole fight, and it just sucks. I hate the way it ended. You know, and look, is it a setup? Is it corruption? I mean, was it always going to be a draw? You know, who knows? You know, who knows? You know, maybe, you know, was it because they want a rematch? They want a trilogy, that kind of thing? Possibly. You know? I mean, if I had to guess, I would say yes, because, look, everything revolves around money in boxing. Everything. So, you know, I think we will get the rematch. It'll probably be May. I'm hoping it'll be, you know, they're talking, you know, a lot sooner, but I'm pretty sure, you know, they're going to optimize, you know, with the Cinco de Mayo day and everything, and it'll probably be May. So I'm going to leave it at that, guys. You know, what do you think about this, the fight game? You know, I thought it was incredibly biased, and it's kind of like adding insult to injury, pouring salt on an open wound.